Start streaming. We are live on Rumble. Good morning, hello, and welcome to This Date in History, aka TDH. This show is about what happened on this dates in the annals of recorded history. Hold on a second. Without a script, I'm crap. I am Xander.
Golden Loon.
And you. Thank you so much for coming in and watching us. Whether it's live or at some point in the space-time continuum is irrelevant. A view is a view. Today is Saturday, aka Saturn's Day, May 24th, 2025. Let's start the history today, shall we? Starting with the year 919. I forgot to move this all the way over here. Pardon me. We have the nobles of Franconia and Saxony elected Henry the Fowler at the imperial diet in Fritzlar as king of the East Frankish kingdom. And that's only in there because that's the first thing I could find, recorded on the date. It's actually off of main source, as you can see from the exclamation point. The earliest the main source here goes is 1086. But we're going to skip that and go here into 1487. Imposter Lambert Simmo was crowned as King Edward VI in Dublin. Okay, normally that'd be like a whatever throwaway article right here. But then from the other source, it says the 10-year-old Lambert Simmo was crowned in Christchurch Cathedral, Dublin, Ireland, with the name of Edward VI in a bid to threaten King Henry VII's reign. Yeah. So I wonder that's why they call him the imposter. He was just put in there as a threat.
Yeah.
So, 1595, nomenclature of Leiden University Library appears, the first printed catalog of an institutional library.
Whoa.
We actually have...
what date was that again?
1595.
Jeez.
And this looks like it's out of that book, so it shows you, back in the day, this was an impressive library.
Oh, yeah.
But nowadays, it's just a warehouse. That's nothing. So, but what else do we got here? 1607, Jamestown, the first permanent English colony in North America, was founded. Here's a picture of it. So that's the first colony. That's it.
Jeez.
Handful of buildings and some defenses and all that stuff. Yeah. 1626, Peter Minuit bought Manhattan.
Bought Manhattan?
He bought Manhattan. And that's off of the main source, so I can't find it on here. But yeah, whoever this Peter Minuit guy was, he bought Manhattan. I wonder if this is a transaction where we bought it from the natives. Yeah,
I was thinking that exact same thing. I don't know.
Yeah. 1600s, I don't know, maybe it was then?
Could have been.
I'm not sure. 1667, French troops attacked into southern Netherlands. Okay? That's a whatever article, but once again, I want to stress the importance of looking at multiple sources from the other source. It says here the French Royal Army crossed the border into the Spanish Netherlands, starting the War of Devolution, opposing France to the Spanish Empire and the Triple Alliance. That's a lot more substantial information right there.
Yeah.
Oh. 1689, English Parliament guaranteed freedom of religion for Protestants. Okay, that sounds good. From our main source here. However, from our other source, the English Parliament passed the Act of Toleration protecting dissenting Protestants but excluding Roman Catholics. Oh, look at that. How convenient. Our leftist source is not talking about the Catholics being excluded. 1738, John Wesley was converted, launching the Methodist movement, celebrated annually by Methodists as Aldersgate Day. And once again, other source here, John Wesley was converted, essentially launching the Methodist movement. This date is celebrated annually by Methodists as Aldersgate Day, and a church service is generally held on the preceding Sunday. Okay, that's pretty cool. 1755, smuggler Louis Mandarin, considered the French Robin Hood, was sentenced to be broken on the wheel, a medieval form of torture and execution that breaks the bones of the subject.
Isn't that where they've been? Yeah.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah.
Now that's while looking for this, I found a lot of uses for the wheel. This one here is what appears to be a double-sided axle. So you can see on both the front and the back, there's an axle holding the wheel.
Okay.
But there's other examples of the wheel having an axle on one side, so you can strap them directly onto the wheel like this. Like here, actually, let me bring up a picture here. Wheel torch here. There's so many different ways of torture on this device. So here's the picture that I just showed you right there.
Yeah.
But then you can also strap them onto this. Kind of like a cross. Here's an example of somebody being rotisseried on a wheel.
Yeah.
So there's so many different ways you can torture somebody on this device. It's fascinating yet terrifying at the same time.
Well, the article's talking about stretching and breaking them. So
yeah. Well, I mean that's the use they discovered for that.
Are they talking about breaking his spirit or physically breaking him?
Both. Yeah,
Okay.
it's just torture. It's
Yeah.
about breaking
Yeah.
spirits. Welcome, Noah. How you doing?
Right,
Awesome.
Balloon.
Yeah.
Good. I'm doing good.
That's
Nice.
good.
Yeah.
Let's see what you're doing.
What
What kind of torture device is it?
it was the wheel.
Okay.
Like here's the picture. That's we were just going over the different ways of torture that the wheel can bring.
Oh, that's disturbing.
Yeah,
Okay.
but let's move on forward here. Let's see here. 1764. Samuel Adams wrote instructions for Boston town meeting opposing the Sugar Act, laying groundwork for colonial resistance to taxation without representation. All the way to 1764.
Yeah. Well.
That's
Wow,
so it was-
we're still having that today.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
You want to talk about taxation without representation? Well, you're not allowed to vote until you're 18, but you can have a job as early as 15 or 15 and a half, or the national thing is 16, but your paycheck gets taxed. So for about 2 years, you're getting taxed without having the right to vote on representation. We became, what we fought against. You either die the hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain, sort of thing.
Well, miners have a lot of things that they don't have rights to.
Well, I say if you're going to tax minors on paychecks, but not give them the right to vote, which they shouldn't have until they're 18, I would argue until they're 25, 26. But that's a whole conversation. But don't allow them to have jobs. If they can't vote but they can't get taxed, but they can't have representation, then
But then simultaneously, you can say, well,
Critical.
you could go ahead and say, well, if you're going to make money and not get taxed, you can't use the roads that we built with taxes and everything else like that.
Well,
So, where do you want to go with it?
Well, once again, that's a whole conversation. We shouldn't be allowing teens to drive. The human brain doesn't stop developing until halfway through your 20s. And now we're giving them control over a 2-ton death machine with controlled explosions under the hood. And they have to ask permission to go to the bathroom. Yeah, that's smart. Moving on up to 1755. Smuggler Lewis. We got that one. Actually, what the heck is there? Okay, I think... in 1775, John Hancock was unanimously elected president of the Continental Congress. Okay.
I think your screen share is frozen for me.
Is it?
Oh no! It says 1764. That's. I can
Oh
see
yeah,
it.
I haven't moved up to.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
I have to scroll two things simultaneously while hosting the show.
Your screen.
Yeah. 1798, Irish Rebellion of 1798, led by the United Irishmen against British rule, began. So the whole thing about the Troubles, it's been going on for hundreds of years. Just give them independence. Free Ireland.
Right.
But the Brits are just, holding with an iron of iron grips on the last vestiges of their empire, and they just will not let go. So, 1813, South American independence leader Simon Bolivar entered Merida, leading the invasion of Venezuela, and was proclaimed El Libertador, or the Liberator. So, this guy, Simon Bolivar, is a huge name in South American history. Here's a painting of him, and an angel is coming down to give him
Crown.
well,
Crown.
not really a crown, but what are they called?
Wreath.
Well, kind of like the Romans wore. What's the leaf?
Yeah, I don't remember.
There's a
but I know
word
what you're
for it.
talking about. I can see it.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm talking about,
Yeah,
right? Like,
of course I do.
Yeah.
I want
The leaves that go around your head.
Yeah.
It's like a crown.
yeah, it's like a crown. It has its own name.
I know.
So,
Yeah.
1815, English surveyor George Evans was the first European to discover the Lachlan River in Australia. That's pretty cool. 1818, General Andrew Jackson captured Pensacola, Florida. So people don't understand that Andrew Jackson was a general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When was the last time we had a general that was a president later on?
Eisenhower?
Eisenhower?
Yeah,
He would have been. He would have been the last one. Yeah.
yeah, the last.
Yeah. Eisenhower.
Yeah.
And the good news or the bad news is, I remember him as president.
Yep.
Yeah.
1822, Battle of Pechinicia, Simon Bolivar secured the independence of Ecuador from Spain. So we're talking about this guy again, Simon Bolivar. We have from our other source here. Yeah. The Battle of Pichincha, Antonio Jose de Sucre secured the independence of the presidency of Quito. So I guess that's his actual name. Like, Simon Bolivar was a stage name, and his actual name is Antonio Jose de Sucre. Not sure.
Were you pronouncing that correctly?
I don't think I am. So,
okay. You're doing better than I would do.
Yeah, way better.
well, I mean, I've been doing this for years, but it doesn't make me a master. So.
Hey, isn't the current Pope Leo now? What the fuck?
Is it?
What's that?
The current Pope? Pope Leo?
Leo
They called
the
him Pope
14th.
Leo. That's weird.
Yeah. Well,
They did.
yeah. Well, we're not reading this one here, but we're going up.
It wasn't the 12th. It was the 13th, I think.
Okay, well, this one's the 12th.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
our current the current Pope is Leo the 14th.
Okay, so there's been a
The
13th
14th.
since there.
Okay.
So,
Very good.
by the way, if you want to read anything, just let me know because I can highlight it like this.
I
So,
can read one.
Okay,
Am I reading 1824?
1830. What I'm highlighting here.
Okay, that one. Okay. Mary Had a Little Lamb by Cheers. Okay, so in 1830, the song "Mary Had a Little Lamb" by Sarah Josepha Hale is first published by Boston firm Marsh, Cabin and Leon.
Wasn't a song; it was a book.
Ah.
You're right. But there is a nursery rhyme. Is
Oh,
there?
yes.
of course there is. Yeah,
Well,
it
yes.
comes- I think it comes from the book.
Nursery
Yeah.
rhyme. Oh, it came from a book. Okay, so
I
originally
think.
the book was published then. Okay.
Yeah. And it was also used as the first recording of the phonograph from Thomas Edison on the
Wow.
wax cylinder.
Yeah.
Actually, that's I think that's the earliest one we have. I think there were other recordings, but they've since been lost to time. But actually, that reminds me. Like, let me bring this up. Phonograph. Mary had a little lamb.
It has.
Let's see if I.
Had
Phonograph. Mary had little lamb. Thomas Edison. Because they have this recorded. Here we go.
There we go.
The first words I spoke in the original phonograph. A little piece of bright poetry. Mary had a little lamb, its sweet and white as snow, and everywhere that Mary went, the lamb would sure to go.
And that's the
It's like
oldest.
that's like doing a Hello World proof of concept in programming these days.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is the oldest surviving that we have that I understand, but I mean, like that's Thomas Edison's voice,
Yes.
on
yes,
a
it is.
wax cylinder.
Yeah.
Like,
That's crazy.
like, why aren't people freaking out about this? That's incredible.
You can hear what Thomas Edison sounded like.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. 1830. If you want to read this one,
Okay.
let's do 3 for 3 like we used to.
Okay. In 1830, the first regular passenger rail service on the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad line features horse-drawn rail cars connecting Baltimore to Ellicott's Mills.
Yep, and the railroad.
Horse-drawn, I'll be
Yeah.
darned.
Now here's the thing, the railroads were invented before the Industrial Revolution. For horses,
Yeah,
for
I
this.
can see that, right.
Like, it was supposed to be like, specific,
That's
like,
train.
yeah, well, trains came later and they utilized the lines very much like how the elevator shaft came before the elevator, but not in the same vein because the inventor of the shaft knew that was coming. But the rails were specifically designed for horse-drawn carriages. Then the Industrial Revolution happened, trains became a thing, and they're like, hey, we have the infrastructure, let's just put them on the rails. Boom!
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Incredible. So.
That's a nice tie-in.
Yeah,
I like that.
and it's pretty interesting because, like, in games like Foxhole, you can lay out railroad tracks before you can actually make the railroad cars and the engines. So they kind of mirror the actual.
Go hand in hand.
They mimic the actual progress of technology. The rail lines came before the actual vehicles for a different purpose. What else do we got here in 1832?
First Kingdom of Greece is declared in the London Conference.
All right,
Kingdom of Greece. Never
the
heard
first
of they
kingdom
had-
of Greece.
I never knew they had a kingdom.
Well, they did.
Yeah.
Now,
they were a democracy.
they invented democracy.
Yeah.
Right,
So-
right.
Yeah. Now, if you want to read the fourth one, because I have more to say about this, but this is pretty big here.
Okay. First telegraph message. In 1844, Samuel Morse, this is big, yeah, taps out, "What hath God wrought?" in the world's first telegraph message.
Yep.
This was Morse code.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Samuel Morse here from the other source sent the message, "What hath God wrought?" A biblical quotation in Numbers 23:23 from a committee room in the United States Capitol to his assistant, Alfred Vail, in Baltimore, Maryland, to inaugurate a commercial telegraph line between Baltimore and Washington, D.C. That's pretty big. So.
Yeah.
Moving on up into 1847, German explorer Ludwig Leichenhardt was awarded the Patron's Medal by the Royal Geographical Society, London, in recognition of the increased knowledge of the great continent of Australia gained by his Moreton Bay Port Essingen journey. So he was getting recognition for surveying Australia. 1854, escaped slave Anthony Burns was arrested by U.S. deputy marshals in Boston under the Fugitive Slave Act. That sucks. So.
I love how you said Boston with the accent.
Yeah. Well, you got to. If I don't call it Boston, then the Boston people will be like, "Hey, you're not pronouncing Boston right. I'm gonna brain you." Yeah.
I'm mad at you.
Yeah.
Bostonese.
1856, the Potawatomi Massacre. John Brown and abolitionist settlers killed 5 pro-slavery settlers in Franklin County, Kansas. And from our other source, John Brown and his men killed 5 slavery supporters at Potawatomi Creek in Kansas. And here's a picture of the Telegraph. And here's John Brown, who looks like a lunatic, holding a gun and a Bible.
He's giant. He's huge.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
tall tales, folklore, So, 1861 here. What else do we got? Alexandria, Virginia was occupied by Union troops. And from our other source, during the American Civil War, Union troops occupied Alexandria, Virginia, with Colonel Elmer E. Ellsworth becoming the first Union officer to be killed during the conflict. Now, I want to bring up a more recent historical thing when it comes to a certain political figure getting shot in the ear. Everybody talks about that. Nobody talks about the guy who got killed behind him in the crossfire, the firefighter. So I want to bring up.
I think he's been not lately, but I mean, they did quite a bit of tribute to that guy. At least the conservatives.
I didn't really realize that one of his was a firefighter got killed during that.
Yes,
incident?
a retired firefighter.
Yeah, he was
Nobody
just.
knows that. I swear, nobody knows that.
But see, the point I'm trying to make is that our main article says this, and our other article also talks about this guy, the first Union officer killed during the conflict.
Yeah.
They're only looking at a sliver of the historical event, not everything else that happened. And this is pretty big too. The first Union officer to be killed. Nobody really knows. Like the first U.S. soldier to be killed in Vietnam was before our involvement. For whatever reason, he was yelling at the North Vietnamese army in French. So of course he's going to get shot. What an idiot!
Hey, I remember back in the
You
day.
said shot in the ear. You're referring to Trump.
No, I'm referring to yet another thing. How things get lost throughout history.
Actually, though, Trump did in his election speech with the Republicans. He paid homage to the fallen.
Yes, he did.
Retired fireman. Yeah.
Yes, he did. Which is good on him.
I give him kudos for that.
Yeah, you got to give credit where credit is due. But anyway, let's get back on track here. 1861, Union Major General Benjamin Butler declared escaped slaves contraband of war. And from our other source, it continues on. After 3 slaves escaped to Fort Monroe, this will become Union policy and change the course of the war. So basically, if I'm reading this correctly, if they got the escaped slaves, their contraband, they are not mandated to hand back over to the South, because they're now at war. So.
Right.
But what do we got here, Mr. Noah? You want to take a turn again?
1862, Eardsley field telegraph was used for the first time.
Okay, so like a field, out in the field, not with infrastructure built around it and all that stuff. Something that can pop up.
In the wild.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
I'll read the next one.
Yeah.
Also, in 1862, Westminster Bridge across the Thames in London opens, becoming the second such bridge after an earlier bridge fell into decay.
Ooh.
So this is in Westminster. This is in the UK.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is in England.
I thought you were going to say fell into the water.
Well, it
probably
didn't.
came close, if not.
Well, it didn't fall into the
Decay
sky.
didn't do well.
Huh. But here's something pretty cool here.
1866 in Berkeley, California, named for George Berkeley, Bishop of Cloyne. So it was named. It is when they named it Berkeley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know where Berkeley is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
And this next one here.
Okay. In 1870, in memoria of Jackson Kemper, the first missionary bishop in the U.S. So, memoria?
Memorial, like a memoriam. Like
I think they forgot the L.
Well, no. Like a memorial is a structure. This is an event.
Right.
So this was a memoria held
Right,
for
okay.
this person, the first
Yeah.
missionary bishop in the U.S. That's pretty cool.
Okay.
Off of main source, and this is surprising how our leftist source does not have this. 1873, Patrick Francis Healy became the first black president of a predominantly white university in the United States.
Kudos.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
I
great.
normally wouldn't put that in here because I don't care what color you are. You know, like a person's a person. You know,
I wonder if that gets into Black History Month.
I wonder. Yeah. 1878, C.A. Parker in Harvard won the first U.S. bike race at Beacon Park in Boston. All right.
Boston.
1881,
Yeah.
Turkey ceded Thessaly and Arda back to Greece. All right, that's nice.
A lot
1883.
about Greece today here.
Yeah. 1883, Brooklyn Bridge opened by President Chester A. Arthur and New York Governor Grover Cleveland. From our other source here, the Brooklyn Bridge in New York was open to traffic after 14 years of construction.
Jeez.
14,
Wow.
you know? So, but, I mean, and there's a show I saw a while ago, like, could we build it today or whatever? And they were asking, you know, could we build something like the Brooklyn Bridge today? With the expense, with the manpower, with our you know, litigation, our laws, and the conclusion was no. It would be impossible to build something like the Brooklyn Bridge today because it would, you know, with all of the bureaucracy and things like OSHA and all that stuff, it would not be possible without it being obscenely expensive.
Yeah, they talk about the Hoover Dam in
Oh,
Las
man.
Vegas.
Oh, man.
And if they had the same results, how many people died, there'd be a massive uproar.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Isn't that kind of an annoying thing to know about, though? It's kind of
Yeah.
annoying.
Yeah. But at the same time, you know, we do got to protect lives, you know, and make sure people are safe. But at the same time, we're trading, you know, like security for, you know, ability. So, like, you know, where's the line in the sand and where do we cross it, if at all?
Well, the one thing. Well, no, go just move on. That's it.
1884, Anti-Monopoly Party and the Greenback Party formed the People's Party in the U.S. Okay, third parties. 1890, Geo Train and Sam Wall circle world in record 67 days from Tacoma to Tacoma. So I wonder.
How many days?
67. But it doesn't say, like, was it air? Well, that can be airplane. This was 1890, so it has to have been by balloon. Huh.
Yeah.
1894. Why don't we give this to you, good sir? Because you know you're more of an astronomer than I am.
All right. In 1894, at the Lowell Observatory, Arizona, first begins observations of Mars with an 18-inch telescope. Leads its builder Percival Lowell to conclude there are canals on Mars.
Yes, and this was when.
I believe that's the telescope up in Flagstaff, Arizona.
Probably, yeah. I
Which
think we've been to Lowell.
Your
Yeah.
cousin
He is.
has been up there and involved with that.
Yeah. 1895.
Let's see, let me read it. 1895, Henry Irving becomes the first actor to receive a knighthood.
What is it? What is that?
Knighthood, like, you know.
Oh, a knighthood?
Yeah, like the
Okay,
the
yeah,
queen,
yeah.
like,
No, I
like
got it.
how they
They
knight
knighted.
people.
Yeah, no, I got
So-
it. I misunderstood what he said.
Yeah. Sir Patrick Stewart. So
Yeah.
make it so. And what do we got here? Let's wrap up the 1800s with you.
Let's see. First auto repair shop opens in Boston. Boston. 1899.
Boston.
First auto repair shop opens. It's in Boston.
Yeah, this is a picture of it right here.
Everybody's a Southie around here.
A lot of Boston and a lot of Greece today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moving on up into 1902, Cleve Bills Bradley was the first ALer, American Leaguer, I believe,
Yeah.
to hit a home run in 4 consecutive games, not duplicated until Babe Ruth does it on June 25 in 1918. So 16 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. 1902, Empire Day was first celebrated in Britain. Empire Day. So I guess the biggest thing the Empire of Britain has ever given to the whole world is the amount of Independence Days. So, but they wanted in on it too,
Yeah.
so they made Empire Day. Oh, look at us, we get to celebrate too. 1915, Thomas Edison invented telescribe to record telephone conversations. He didn't invent
there we
shit,
go.
so he just took the credit because he had the money and the notoriety.
Yep, the patents for it.
Yep.
Yeah.
No. Also in 1915, during World War I, Italy declared war on Austria-Hungary, joining the conflict on the side of the Allies. The first time, to my knowledge, but would not be the last, that they switched sides when things went sour. So, you want to talk about a flip-flopper of a nation, that's Italy. 1960.
Both World Wars.
Yeah, both times. So, but what do we got here in 1916?
I'll read it. In 1916, the French were driven out of Fort Douaumont. I can't pronounce it. Douaumont.
That was pretty good.
After 500 killed or injured.
All right.
So this was during. This is before the First World War.
No, this
right?
is during the First
3
World
years
War.
before it started.
No, this is during it. It started in 1914.
Wait, I thought it started in 19. No, in 19. Like, I can't remember.
No, it ended in 1918.
Where is
That's
that
what I'm
fort
thinking of
located?
then. I'm
Where's
thinking
that
when it
fort
ended.
at?
Okay, yeah.
Fort Dumont.
It's got to be in France, right?
Well, of course, yeah. Let me see here.
See? Where is
Images.
this? It's in France, right?
Okay, so this fort here.
It's
Let me
French.
bigger this.
It's French.
I'm not sure which one. This has to be Fort Dumont. Like, there's a.
Yeah.
It's not gonna. Here we go.
Oh,
So,
wow.
I think this is the one that got shelled to oblivion. You can see all the craters all over it, kind of.
Oh, yeah,
Like-
you can. You can see the craters.
It's not giving me a
Yeah.
bigger image. But yeah, so I don't know the
Okay.
exact event, but like I know this was big.
Mhm.
So anyway, what do we got here in 1916? This is pretty cool too.
I'll read it. In 1916, the last British Indian contract work. Oh, I don't really know the grammar. Last British Indian contract workers arrived in Suriname. I can't pronounce it.
Suriname.
Suriname?
Yeah.
Suriname?
Now, India, before it was called India, was known as the British Raj, and a lot of Indians were conscripted into the British military to fight. That's why you see a lot of those people with turbans and such fighting in World War One. They were mandated by the British Empire to fight for them.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, mandated by because the British Raj, it was
Yeah,
a colony
yeah.
of Britain.
Yeah.
So, but this was the last Indian contract worker, the last mandated, I believe, contract conscripted workers to arrive in Suriname.
Okay.
So,
Right, okay.
1918, Cleveland starter Stan Kowalski set a club record for most innings pitched, 19, in a complete game as the Indians beat the New York Yankees 3-2 at the Polo Grounds in New York City. So that sounds pretty big right there.
They don't even allow a pitcher to go 9 anymore, which is
Yeah.
a standard game.
Yeah. 1924, Canada granted women the right to vote in federal elections, though the First Nations women were still unable to without giving up their status. So I guess like you have to give up your first class status or something. I'm
I
not
have
sure.
no idea what that means, but what a shame.
It has to be
give
like an
something up to
economic
vote.
thing.
You had
Yeah.
to give something up to vote. Ugh.
Yeah.
Right.
1928, Italian aviator Umberto Nobile flew airship Italia over North Pole again, only to crash onto an ice pack a day later. So,
Number.
Yeah.
Sounds like the same thing.
yeah. 1928, record 12 future Baseball Hall of Famers took the field as New York Yankee defeated the Philadelphia A's 9-7 at Shibe Park. Managers Millie Higgins and Connie Mack, umpire Ton Connolly, also Hall of Famers. Wow. That's
12 Hall of
Wow.
Famers.
Yeah,
in one
future
game.
Hall of Famers.
Yeah, right.
So,
Obviously.
yeah. But some more baseball stuff if you'd like to take it, Sir Noah.
More baseball, okay. In 1929, Chicago, I don't know what the... is
White
this World
Sox.
Series?
White Sox.
Oh, White Sox, not World Series? Okay. In 1929, Chicago White Sox pitcher Ted Lyons, or Leons, and Detroit's George Ule go 21 innings before Tigers get a run to win. 6-5, the longest game. 3 hours, 31 minutes ever at Comiskey Park, Chicago.
That's a long game.
Yeah.
The prize is
21 innings? Come on.
Boston.
Wow.
Boston. Yeah.
Boston.
Yeah. First woman flies UK to Australia. No, it is not Amelia Earhart.
No.
No.
In 1930, Amy Johnson becomes the first woman to fly solo from the United Kingdom to Australia.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Now, from our other source here, it
That's
says
all
Amy.
water.
Yeah. Amy Johnson landed in Darwin, Northern Territory, becoming the first woman to fly solo from England to Australia, having left on May 5th. So this is 19 days later.
I wonder what's farther distance over the sea, England to U.S. or England to Australia.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I'd like to look it up, but we're already half hour in, so we got to keep this going.
It sounds further to me, but I'm not
yeah.
sure.
Sounds yeah.
Let me finish reading this section here. Having left on May 5th for the 11,000-mile flight.
11,000 miles.
Yeah. Now she's not flying over the ocean the whole time. She left on May 5th. So, and this was, so obviously a lot of pit stops to get fuel and snacks.
Well, islands and things like that, I
yeah.
guess.
Maybe islands. Well, I don't know. Like, flying through the whole Atlantic. Well, no.
I guess it depends on how she went.
There is no straight shot.
Right.
There is no straight shot over water only from the UK to Australia. You're going to fly over either South America or Africa.
True.
No, you're going to have to fly over Africa. Yeah, for sure.
Well, one of them.
Okay. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'm envisioning the world in way different.
Well,
okay,
she's not doing it in one hit. She left on May 5th.
Yeah.
It took her 19 days. What else do we got here? Another baseball one here.
New York Yankees. All right, I'll read it. I'm doing the baseball ones, or some of them. In 1930, the New York Yankees' legendary slugger Babe Ruth, famous individual, homers in both games of a doubleheader, beat Philadelphia's A's.
Yep.
I don't know what the A's is.
Yeah, A's.
Okay.
That's her name.
Stands for the Athletics.
10-6 and 11-1 gives him 9 home runs in 1 week.
Woo!
Wow. The Bambino.
Yeah. The great Bambino.
Yeah.
Oh.
Now, we were talking about these guys earlier. What was it, Baltimore and Oregon or whatever? 1931, first air-conditioned train installed on the B&O Railroad.
Ah.
1935, first Major League night baseball game in Cincinnati, Reds 2, Philadelphia 1. And that's what this picture is of the first night game ever in MLB history. The first night game in Major League Baseball history was played in Cincinnati, Ohio, with the Cincinnati Reds beating the Philadelphia Phillies 2-1 at Crossley Field.
So you think that's an actual picture of the first game?
Well, I copied and pasted this article and just showed it to me.
Okay.
So, it includes the article and the date. So,
yeah.
1936, Dutch bishops forbade membership of Nazi Party. Good.
Yeah.
Very good.
So, 36 as well, Tony Lazzeri, 2 grand slams, 11 RBIs, running battings ins, right?
Run batted in.
Yeah. Ben Chapman set record by reaching first 7 times safely. Yanks beat A's 25-2. Ooh.
A drubbing.
That's a drubbing right there. So. Oh, and back to you, Noah.
Oh God.
This is the worst article. The worst article to give you.
1940, Adolf Hitler and General von Rundstedt issue a halt order stopping German armed divisions and allowing British and French armies to evacuate through I can't pronounce it.
Calais
and Dunkirk.
Oh.
Calais, yeah.
Yeah, Calais and Dunkirk.
Yeah, with Dunkirk, the movie, very good.
Oh, that was a great movie.
They brought up the question, why did they stop their tanks? Why not just come in and massacre us? Well, why waste the gas? Just have aircraft come in and pock you. That's what they did, So.
Didn't say that here.
Well, I mean, I that's why I said it. So, it's a good movie. Go out and watch it.
Great movie.
Yeah. We also have.
In 1940, Dutch army demobilizes. This
Yep.
is during World War II.
Yep. And we also have, on the same day,
The same year, 1940, the Dutch Queen Wilhelmina speaks on British Broadcasting Radio, BBC.
Yeah. Yeah, so obviously about probably, they're standing down, they're surrendering, because the army demobilized.
Yeah.
Queen of the Netherlands.
Yeah, and actually we got quite a few 1940s here, so if you want to take this next one, another baseball, a lot of baseball today.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
1940, the New York Giants swat Boston Bees 8-1 in first night game at Polo Grounds, New York City.
I love the terminology. They swat the bees. So,
Yeah,
I've never heard of the Boston Bees, though.
that's funny.
well, let's see if they're even still around. Boston
Well,
Bees.
they would now be the Boston.
Celtics? No, that's
No,
basketball.
That's basketball.
No,
Boston
Celtics
Braves.
or Celtics.
Okay.
But they're the Braves now. So, all right. What else do we got here? I don't need that. I don't need that. There we go. That's what I need. We got that. 1940, Igor Sikorsky performed the first successful single rotor helicopter flight. And that's what I believe right here. Now, I don't know, I don't believe this is the right picture. I was trying to find it because there's 3 rotors. They have one main rotor.
Yeah.
And you know how we have, the vertical rotor in the back?
Yeah.
Well, back then you can see they have 2 horizontal rotors split.
Oh, okay.
So it was like a tri-wheel thing,
Yeah. Yeah.
1940 as well, acting on the orders of Soviet leader Joseph Stalin, NKVD, which was the predecessor to the what was it? The Secret Service for Russia. What's their more famous one?
Yeah.
I know it's not the Gulag. What was
No. Oh.
Well, anyway, the NKVD agent Isov
KGB.
KGB, thank you, orchestrated an unsuccessful assassination attempt on exiled Russian revolutionary Leon Trotsky in Coyoacán, Mexico. All the way in Mexico, he could still get touched, and eventually he did get killed.
Wow.
So, but yeah, the Stalinism, getting rid of everything Marxist, Leninist, and all that stuff. Yeah. 1941, the German battleship Bismarck sunk the British battlecruiser HMS Hood. 1,416 died, with 3 surviving, and from the other source here. During World War II, as part of the Battle of the Atlantic, the Battle of the Denmark Strait saw the German battleship Bismarck sink the pride of the Royal Navy HMS Hood, killing all but 3 crewmen.
Ooh.
Yikes. And here's a picture of it. I think that's the Hood sinking right there. So, but yeah, the whole thing to get the Bismarck. Extra History does a really good video about it. Get the Bismarck. Let's have you talk about this 1943 if I can find it. Here we go.
Let's go. Wait, I need to go back to you. Hang on.
Yep.
Oh. Okay, 1941?
43.
43. In 1943, this is the Stroop Report. Final entry in the Stroop Report detailing the destruction of the Jewish warship compiled by Nazi officers, later used as evidence in the Nuremberg trials. So this was used in the... Wasn't that the tribunals?
I think so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And we have another 43 here. This was the beginning of the end for them. You want to read it?
Okay. Yeah, hang on. German U-boat stopped. 1943, German Admiral Donitz stops U-boat operations in the Atlantic Ocean, turning point in the Battle of the Atlantic.
Well, yeah. I mean,
That seems awful early that they stopped
well,
U-boat operations. I'm surprised it's 43. I would have thought it would be much later.
Yeah, well, it couldn't be too much later because the war ended a year and change after that.
45.
Oh, yeah, 45, so 2 years and change. You're right.
Oh.
All right.
Well, it was early 45.
Yeah. Off of main source here, 1944, Congress of Primat occurred, which established a provisional government in Albania in areas under partisan control, the first independent Albanian government since 1939. In honor of this, the national emblem of Albania inscribed this date from 1946 until 1992. So, yeah. 51, and we were talking about this actually earlier. I told you we're going to be talking about this in the show.
Yep.
Racial segregation in Washington, D.C. Restaurants ruled illegal. Good.
How about that?
Yeah.
Look at 51. Wow, that's really...
But that's not that far ago.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. It staggers me. Being on the West Coast, there wasn't any of that as far as government segregation.
Yeah, as far as laws and mandates.
Seeing that in 1951, holy cow!
Yeah.
About time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what was it? 1996 before, I forgot what state it was that ratified the amendments prohibiting slavery or something. I don't remember exactly, but they were late. 1953, Pope Pius XII published encyclical Doctor Mellifluus. And you know how I am with these holy memos. I just want to look this up here really quick, see what. It's like blah blah blah. On the doctor of the church, Bernard of given in Rome, yada yada feast. In ensuing in anticipation of the 8th century. So okay, I have no idea what this is. So,
Right. I don't know what that means.
But let's move on up here. In 1954, IBM announced vacuum tube electronic brain that could perform 10 million operations an hour. Pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Year was
This
that?
is
1952.
54.
54.
Here's a picture of it.
54. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's like a wall-mounted. What's it called? Like a mainframe.
Yeah, mainframe, right?
Well, it's a computer room.
And literally, they were computer rooms.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mom worked
Yeah.
with the punch cards back in the day.
yes.
Yeah. Well, 1958, United Press Association and International News Service merged to form United Press International.
Oh.
All right.
Okay.
59, first house with built-in bomb shelter exhibited in Pleasant Hills, Pennsylvania.
Oh.
Yeah,
I
let's
remember
move.
that being, as a kid, being a big deal.
Yeah,
Building bomb
Right.
shelters underground, digging a hole,
yeah.
building a bomb shelter.
1959, Empire Day was renamed Commonwealth Day in Great Britain. Oh, let's start using euphemistic language to take away. Oh, Empire Day, Commonwealth Day. You know, they want to retain. Oh, we have a celebratory time too, but we're not oppressive. No,
Right.
screw you, Britain. You're oppressive. What do we got here in 1960? And moving on up here, right here.
1960. 1 millionth Dutch telephone installed.
That's pretty cool.
Whoa.
Yeah.
It is.
I would have never guessed there was 1 million Dutch telephones, even to this day, but
Right.
obviously there were a long time ago.
1960.
Yeah. 1960 as well, this is off of being sourced. Following the 1960 Villa Diva earthquake, the largest ever recorded earthquake, Cordon Collie began to erupt, which I presume is a volcano. Now this is weird. Didn't we already have the largest ever earthquake a couple days ago? You were here. And it was-
Thursday, that's right.
Yeah, and it was also the 7th largest. So what's going on? What is really the largest? Or is this like the largest ever versus that was the most destructive? Like, how are we categorizing this? This is confusing, So
That's a confusing way the way they wrote it.
yeah.
Language they're using.
But let's get back to you. What else do we got here?
Let's go back. In 1961, 27 Freedom Riders arrested in Jackson, Mississippi.
Yep. Now, I have more meat from our other source here. During the U.S. Civil Rights Movement, Freedom Riders were arrested in Jackson, Mississippi for disturbing the peace after disembarking from their bus. So, which goes to show that the law will be used in any way against anything, so long as they find a
Right.
loophole. So,
Oh yeah, that's definitely what they'll do. Every
Yeah.
chance they get.
yep,
It's called maintaining power.
yep. And here's something very designed for you.
Let me see. Go back.
Actually, I have
in
two.
1961, NASA Explorer Ionosphere research mission fails to reach Earth orbit.
All right.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, now here's something really interesting. 1 year to the day, so exactly 365 days after we couldn't get to the atmosphere, get to orbit. What do we have here?
Event of interest. Let's see. 1962. U.S. astronaut Scott Carpenter aboard the Aurora 7 or Mercury Atlas 7 orbits the Earth 3 times in a flight just under 5 hours.
So within a year, we went from not being able to get to orbit to having a man in orbit. That is incredible.
3 times in 5 hours.
Well, I mean, that's whatever, but but to get there within a year,
Another 6 years, we had a man on the moon.
allegedly.
Okay.
Well, I'm I don't believe anything is concrete because as it was said in Men in Black, 100 years ago we knew the Earth was flat. 50 years ago we knew this. Today we know we're the only organisms on this planet. What will we not know tomorrow? So
Right.
the point I'm trying to make is that the highest likely case scenario, because people are on both sides, but I have a way to combine them. We did land on the moon, but the video was fictitious because the solar radiation wiped the tapes, so we had to remake it. But we did land on the moon.
I've never heard that one before, but fair enough.
Yeah, that validates both sides of the spectrum. So, Yeah, so moving back up to 64 here, more baseball. The longest home run in Baltimore Memorial Stadium, Harmon Killebrew, Minnesota Twins, at 471 feet. Now, I'm wondering if this is the longest home run ever, or if this was only for this specific stadium itself.
It says for that stadium.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say there are longer home runs somewhere.
Yeah, but is it saying in that stadium because it happened in that stadium, or it's the longest home run in that stadium?
Here's what I'm going to tell you, though. I saw Harlem Killebrew play out of Dodger Stadium.
Nice. 1965, the Supreme Court declared federal law allowing post office to intercept communist propaganda is unconstitutional. Good. Just because I disagree with something does not mean I should make a law prohibiting it.
Yeah.
Unless it's Nazism and communism, because now look at the world around you. We give them rights and they take away ours. Unfortunately, something's got to give. So, 1969, Sugar Sugar, dun 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 dun.
Oh man!
Single released by cartoon band The Archies, Billboard Song of the Year, 1969. Yeah. Oh honey honey, dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
Good song. 1970. Why don't you take this one? Actually, back to you here.
Let's
see.
Go.
There we go.
So, the bottom one. Okay. The drilling of the Kola super deep borehole begins in the Soviet Union.
Yeah, but here's a picture of it. Them drilling it.
Oh.
Like what is it? 8 miles?
I have no
or
idea.
Something. The deepest we've ever drilled, and they actually had to stop because the drill bits were melting. Like it was so hot and dense down there that it was just melting, and they physically couldn't drill anymore. And now they just have it plugged up, but there's a plug and the hole just goes. But the other thing is actually, let's see if I can find it. Kola super deep borehole noises.
Comes up in this search. Oh, okay, noises.
Yeah, this was recorded from coming out of the super deep borehole.
Sound recorded under the world's deepest hole.
Insane. Imagine dropping a penny down the hole and seeing how long it takes to make a noise.
Yeah.
Well, no, this is audio from inside the hole. It's almost as if they bored into hell. That's what Earth sounds like down there.
Scary sound recorded under.
Like, isn't that terrifying?
Oh, yeah.
Like, they drill deep enough and they're hearing what sounds like screaming of agony. It sounds like they drilled into hell. So that's...
Right.
Yeah.
It's like you drop a coin down the hole. How long before you hear it go make a noise?
If you will.
To me, that was the sound of energy down there. You got molten lava and whatever else you got down there.
Yeah.
You get all kinds of.
But it doesn't make it any less scary.
True.
So, but what else do we got here?
Let's see. 1976, the first commercial SST flight to North America from Concord to Washington, D.C.
I don't know. SST? Single Service Transport? I don't know what that means.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Same.
But this one's pretty cool.
Okay. You read it. Hang on. Hang on. Them again. 1976. In the Judgment of Paris, wine testers rate wines from California higher than their French counterparts, challenging the notion of France being the foremost producer of the world's best wines.
Yep.
It's interesting. Didn't know that.
Yep. And from our other source here, it says the Judgment of Paris took place in France, launching California as a worldwide force in the production of quality wine.
Yeah, very true for that.
And you know what? If anybody knows how to wine, it's California. And I'm not talking about the drink. So.
You're talking about the noise people make or the wine they produce?
Oh, boo, we need
either one. Take your choice.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm about to sneeze again, so I'll let you, pardon me, read this.
Right, hang on. Let me check it. Yeah, so, wait, what the hell did it go there? There we go. In 1978, American management consultant Marilyn Loden first coined the term glass ceiling to describe invisible career barriers for women. So that's when it first happened.
Now, there's this show called Evil. It's a really interesting show, but there's this one scene where, like, this lady got a promotion. She's working for the evil company, so she's not a good person. but like she's doing all this stuff, thinking she's doing good work. They gave her a promotion and a new office, and her new office, literally like it wasn't even like full height. It was like
Okay, yeah,
like
sure.
it was a glass ceiling, and there was another office above her, and all the men were literally pointing down and laughing at her.
Oh.
And she was like stooped over with her desk and everything, and she's like, "I'm coming for you, fuckers," So it's a good show. Moving on up, what do we got here? 1981, Ecuadorian President Jaime Rolos Aguilera, his wife, and his presidential committee died in an aircraft accident while traveling from Quito to Zapotillo minutes after the president gave a famous speech regarding the 24 de Mayo anniversary of the Battle of Pinichiquila, which that seems a little fishy, so... 83, Supreme Court rules government can deny tax breaks to schools that racially discriminated against students.
Good.
Yeah.
Wow.
But how do you prove that?
Black suffrage movement.
Well, yeah.
So.
Black and women's suffrage. Yeah.
Yep. 1986, Reginald Huffestetter tread water for 985 hours. What? Like,
What you tread water? What is that? Like walking in water? What?
Well, have you ever been in a pool and you're just like
tread water to stay afloat.
Yeah.
You kick your feet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was doing that for 900.
Wait, he was kicking for that long? Oh,
yeah,
my God.
that's why it's in
how
the
you do
show.
that.
That's a workout.
Yeah, yeah,
I would have long since drowned.
yes, same. So, 1987, Golden Gate Bridge 50th anniversary. Over 800,000 people showed up.
Jeez.
300,000 walk on bridge at the same time. The span temporarily flattened from the weight.
Wow.
San Francisco, California, and I had a picture of it at one point, but I guess I don't have it. This is the California wine thing, so I'll get rid of that. But yeah, 88, John Michoda set a record for fast talking, 586 words per minute. There's something I want to say, but then I would be labeled as a sexist.
I'm not even sure I know 580 words.
Yeah. 1989, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, directed by Steven Spielberg, starring Harrison Ford and produced by George Lucasfilms, premiered. Pretty big right there. 1991, this is off a main source here. Israel conducted Operation Solomon, evacuating Ethiopian Jews to Israel. Wasn't there like some kind of like religious cleansing or something happening in Ethiopia?
I can't
or
quite
something?
recall. Yeah,
So-
well, obviously there was something like that.
Yeah. So.
George Lucas.
Yeah. But 92, Sir Noah, here we go.
Despite trailing 7-1, the New York Yanks timed Milwaukee Brewers and then score one in the ninth to avoid fifth straight extra inning game. There's a lot of baseball here today.
Yeah, there is.
That was in 1992.
Yeah.
And I can't believe you just skipped over Weird Al Yankovic. I saw that.
Where?
Yeah, go back and grab it.
Right there.
Well, if you want to read it, go ahead.
Yeah, go.
We're going back now, but okay. In 1989, Weird Al Yankovic records 3 tracks of his UHF movie soundtrack.
That's a good movie.
The parody sneer.
Yeah.
Everyone loves Weird Al.
Yeah. We have a couple off of main sources here. 1992, the ethnic cleansing of Kozrak, Bosnia and Herzegovina began when Serbian militia and police forces entered the town.
Yeah.
And we also have the last Thai dictator, General Sushinada Karayayun, resigned following pro-democracy protests. So, what do we got here in 93?
Let's see. 1993. That's the year I was born.
Oh.
Eritrea. I can't pronounce it.
Eritrea.
Sorry, isn't it? Eritrea achieved it's a country.
Yeah.
Achieved independence from Ethiopia after 30 years civil war. That's a long time.
It is a long time. Now, our other source says it gained its independence. There's a difference between achieving and gaining. One is given and one is fought for. So,
Right.
did they fight for it or did they do it diplomatically? What happened? Was it politic or was this war?
I don't know. Do you want to look it up?
So, well, we don't have time. We're almost at the hour here. We're still in the 90s. So,
Right.
but what else do we got here in 93? Here we go. This one's pretty
The
cool.
year I was born. In 1993, Star Trek episode Second Chances airs, guest starring Mae Jemison, the first real-life astronaut to appear on the show.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
We have a couple more off of main sources here. 93, Roman Catholic Cardinal Juan Jesus Posadas Ocampo and 5 other people were assassinated in a shootout at Miguel Hidalgo y Costilla Guadalajara International Airport in Mexico. That's not
Glad that
good.
you're doing the accent for everything.
Muchas gracias, senor. 1994, 4 men were convicted of bombing the World Trade Center in New York in 93. Each one was sentenced to 240 years in prison.
Wait, there was another attempt to blow up the Trade Center besides 9/11?
Yeah, there was one before that. There's they tried to set off a truck bomb in the
in the basement.
underneath in the parking
wow.
garage.
Yeah.
Yeah, they tried to blow it up from underneath.
No, you learn something new every day.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't know about this.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, no, the trade centers have been hit a couple
It
of
shook
times.
it pretty good too.
Yeah,
That was in
Yeah.
1993. When was that?
well, 93, yeah.
Okay.
So, 1999,
Wow.
Venezuela entered the Antarctic Treaty System. That's interesting. What is Venezuela doing
Yeah.
with Antarctica?
I had
You
no
know,
idea they were
yeah.
in South America.
Yeah. And then 99, the International Criminal Tribunal, bless you, for the former Yugoslavia in The Hague, Netherlands, indicted Slobodan Milosevic and 4 others of war crimes and crimes against humanity committed in Kosovo. So that was a big thing right there.
Oh, there's a lot
Yeah.
of that.
History.
A lot of that. Just a horrible one.
And that's not even
Ethnic
covered.
cleansing.
That's not even covered in our main source. It's just
Yeah.
wiped.
Yeah.
So if anybody uses
Right.
this source, they don't have a clue about that. That's disgusting. That's how history is being rewritten before our very eyes, and why I'm fighting against it. Moving on up into the next millennium, we are in the home stretch. What do we got here
Right.
in the year
a
2000?
hell of a stretch.
Yeah,
Israeli troops withdraw from southern Lebanon after 22 years of occupation.
that's a bit long for occupation there, but
Wow.
There's so much going on in that area of the world that's
To
never
this day.
going to be stable.
it's never,
No,
you know.
ever,
So-
never, ever.
No, there's always hope.
Well, until it's like the only way is to just get rid of everything, you know.
Well, to
So-
me, and this is only a observation, world peace comes through that region of the world.
Right?
So then it's
That's right.
unattainable.
Huh?
So then world
Well,
peace is
it'll
like,
never
And
happen.
I say it is attainable. Difficult, but attainable.
well,
Oh,
unless people get rid of their their beliefs, there's no way.
crazy
So
Sharia law leaders.
yeah, well, both sides are awful. But anyway, let's get back onto track. What do we got here? 2001 mountain climbing. Here we go.
15-year-old Sherpa Temba Seri becomes the youngest person to reach the summit of Mount Everest in 2001.
It's pretty cool. 15.
Mount Everest.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
2001 as well, the Democrats gained control of the U.S. Senate for the first time since 94 when Senator James Jeffords of Vermont abandoned the Republican Party and declared himself an independent. Okay. Wait, is that not here anymore? Oh, here it is, right here. All right. We also have 2003. Paul McCartney performed in his first ever concert in Russia in Moscow's Red Square to a crowd of over 100,000 people. Pretty cool there.
Is that when he was with
He
Wings?
was
When
one
he
of the
had-
Beatles,
Probably.
right?
Oh yeah.
But he also went off and made his own band. the
They all
Wings.
did. And when
No,
they broke
yeah,
up,
he
they all did different stuff. But he
Good
formed
time.
the group Wings.
Yeah.
Did a lot of independent stuff too.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
2004, North Korea banned mobile phones. That's not surprising,
Wow.
but kind of.
Yeah.
Hopefully they're never going to lift that ban.
Uh,
Ever.
No.
2016, and as of now, at least, I will say he is an innocent man. Bill Cosby is ordered to stand trial in a sexual assault case in Norristown. Now, 2015, 2016 was the height of the Me Too movement, and I believe he was just a big name, and the bigger they are, the harder they fall. They just went after the biggest names to bring people down, I don't believe he did any of the things he was accused of.
I don't know.
Well, we'll get back into that here in a couple of years, because the same thing happened to another very, prominent black actor. But you look at C.K. Louis C.K.
Yeah.
He just admitted
Not
it.
a
Just
black actor.
I'm not talking about him being
Oh,
a black
okay.
actor. I'm talking about him as another example.
Yeah.
He admitted to the accusations just to avoid the media circus, because at the end of the day, all the crybabies are going to get their way no matter what.
Yeah.
It's better to just
Yeah.
rip off the Band-Aid first, so to speak.
Right?
So,
Yeah.
but 2016 as well. Let's see if I can find it here. Do you want to read this one off?
In 2016, Kaduna State in Nigeria declares a state of emergency due to tomato Ebola as moth destroys 80% of tomato crops.
Yikes!
Moths? Oh shit.
Oh, well, I guess they better catch up. So
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that was horrible.
Sorry,
that
that's-
was really
that
bad.
joke was
We're
a
gonna
bit.
cut that out.
That joke was
Isn't that
kind
from
of.
isn't that from a McDonald's commercial?
I don't know, but that joke was kind of saucy. So
Oh god, it was literally in a McDonald's commercial. I'm not even kidding. When I was young.
now this is what I was talking about here. If you want to read it.
Yeah, saucy. In 2018, actor Morgan Freeman is accused of sexual harassment by several women in CNN report.
See,
Yeah.
right there. I don't believe he did any of that either. But because he's a big name, he's a big person to topple, if you can take the big guys down, then everybody else will just fall easily. You know?
Well, there's a big difference between accused and and
Convicted.
being convicted.
But
yeah.
the fact that they're accusing him for the same reason as I was talking about Bill Cosby, they're just going after him. You know?
Yeah.
And
he
the whole
did
thing,
get convicted though.
he
He's in
unfortunately-
jail now, I think.
he's out.
Oh, okay.
So, but yeah, no, like I think that they're innocent, and the whole hashtag Me Too movement. Well, before we start calling it a hashtag, what was it? What was it called?
I don't know what.
Well, like when you're on the phone, press the what key?
Pound?
The pound key.
Oh,
It's
okay.
the pound sign. So it's pound Me Too. It's the pound Me Too movement. Stupid. They're so dumb. So, anyway, let's move on up here. What else do we got? 2018.
Okay, let's go. Let me read this one. I'll read this one. In 2018, at least 14 children reported mauled to death. Wow, mauled to death by wild dogs near Khairabad, India, after a closure of slaughterhouses. That's sickening.
Now that makes me really wonder why are these
14?
Well,
That
what's
was it?
Why are they there?
well? How come the closing of slaughterhouses had caused wild dogs? Were they killing
I
the
don't
wild
know.
dogs for food?
I don't know
Or
how
were
does
they
that relate?
feeding the wild dogs the scraps? What's going on?
I don't know.
Why are these two correlated?
I don't know.
That's
a
weird.
Good question.
Yeah,
That is strange that they would add that little detail in.
Yeah.
It feels unrelated.
I mean it sucks that the kids died, but you know, why would the closure of slaughterhouses cause wild dogs to appear? What's going
I do
on?
not know.
What's the connection?
I don't think they're related. I think it's just a detail they added. But it's
Well,
not
I
related.
mean, you know, I don't know. Anyway, 2018 as well, Bangladeshi police reported to have shot 52 suspected drug traffickers in anti-narcotics crackdown in 10 days.
Jeez.
Wow. It's crazy. 2018 as well, record U.S. fentanyl seizure of 120 pounds, pardon me, 54 kilograms, confirmed by police in Nebraska in April, enough to kill 26 million people, one of the largest drug busts in U.S. history. Thank you, China. Thank you, China, and thank you, Mexico, for being, a free way for China to,
Complicit.
Yep.
Right.
So, and we also have another 2018. We have a lot in 2018. If you want to read this one,
2018, U.S. President Donald Trump cancels summit with North and South Korea because of hostile statements from North Korea.
that would do it. Yep.
I would
And
do it.
and we have another one here. This one. This one's wild.
Okay. In 2018, U.S. President Donald Trump posthumously pardons boxer Jack Johnson for racially oriented criminal conviction, reporting a white woman across state lines, for transporting a white woman across state lines. It's interesting.
You know,
Well, he did
it's-
the right thing, even though it
Makes you
made
think
no
what- makes you
difference.
think what he
but
knew
still.
about it.
Yeah.
Under-
I mean, he did the right thing.
Yeah.
I don't see
Right.
Obama or Biden or any of these people doing anything like this. You know?
I see them pardoning their own families.
Yes, of course.
Oh, you're
Yes.
very good.
Yes.
Good point.
What else do we got here?
Mhm.
This is crazy.
2018, the world's largest cat-proof fence. Cat-proof fence. Okay, 44 kilometers or 27.3 miles was completed in New Haven Wildlife Sanctuary, Central Australia, to protect endangered species. Well, it's good they're protecting the species, endangered
Yeah.
species.
Yeah. Pretty crazy. Off a main source here, 2019, under pressure over handling of Brexit, British Prime Minister Theresa May announced her resignation as leader of the Conservative Party, effective as of June 7th. So it's coming up.
Yeah.
She's hanging her hat. But then right after that, we have disheveled British
Yeah,
Trump.
dust mop.
Yeah, dust mop. Dude, seriously, his hair is worse than mine. What? How do you look so disheveled, man? Like, You want to read this?
Yes. Here, let's see. An event of interest. This is Boris Johnson. Everyone hated him in England.
Yeah.
In 2020, the British Prime Minister Boris Johnson refuses to sack his senior aide Dominic Cummings after it is revealed he broke the country's lockdown rules to drive across the country. Yeah, these people were. He was a horrible PM from what I
Yes,
heard.
absolutely. Because he's going around and locking everybody down and taking away their rights and everything, and then he hosts a freaking party in the backyard of his yard. You know, no
Remember
mess.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
And then he apologized, and the British people ate it up. They should have strung him up by his thumbs.
Yeah.
You know? So, what else do we got here? 2020, millions of cicadas in a once-in-a-17-year event about to emerge from the Earth in the U.S. South, posing crop danger and noise issues, according to scientists from Virginia Tech. I heard about this, but I never heard anything from it. Like, did they appear? Was it a problem? Like, or did they pesticide everything and kill them in the ground? Like, what happened?
I don't know.
Oh.
Good question.
In 2021, a constitutional crisis deepened in Samoa after Speaker of the House shut out Fayam Naomi Mataafa from being sworn in as the country's first woman leader in 56 years. Wow.
Wow.
2022, 19 children and 2 teachers were shot and killed by at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas, by an 18-year-old gunman. And
Why do people do that so much in America?
That's a whole conversation. Like,
only in America, you know.
Well, because it's all false flags, you know, to push the anti-gun agenda, you know, gun control laws.
Yes.
Because gun control, because criminals follow and obey gun control laws and stay out of gun control zones, because that's how criminals work.
Yeah,
stupid.
I
Stupid. So. But yeah, from our other source here, a mass shooting occurred at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas, United States of America, resulting in the deaths of 21 people, including 19 children, and the local police acted pathetically. Remember, they were just standing there doing nothing? And the parents, that one mother climbing over the fence and getting threatened with arrest?
Yeah.
Do your job!
Yeah.
You know, if you're going to get shot in the line of duty, so be it. But, you know, you have armor. Do something.
Why do we guard our banks and not our schools?
Oh my God! You just made me. I know this isn't exactly the same thing, but you just reminded me of the George Floyd incident.
Oh, let's not talk about any of that.
It's not
on
really
YouTube
related.
at least. So
anyway, yeah.
But also, what do we got here? We have a couple more articles. What do we got?
Okay, let me. I'll have a look at I'll read the last ones. How about that? In 2022, leaders of Quad nations. America, Australia, India, and Japan meet in Tokyo, focusing on Chinese aggressions into the Indo-Pacific region.
Yeah. And that Quad was established years and years before they kind of brought it back.
Yeah, good. And this one, you know, this is a shot in the foot right here.
Well, let's have a look. Let me read it. Election of interest. In 2023, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' launch of his own bid for the Republican presidential nomination on Twitter is marred by glitches and outages. That sounds like cheating.
No, well, I mean, like,
breakdown.
At the time, Twitter was not.
Was.
Well, at the time, Twitter was still a leftist organization, and because he's a conservative, they were trying to bury him. But the shot in the foot I'm talking about is,
what I'm saying.
Why would you run against Trump? You know, like
I don't get why any Republicans ran against him after his first term.
Yeah, I mean, like, now I want to once again reiterate, I am not a Trump supporter, but why would you like dude, like wait your turn, you know?
Yeah.
Like, stand in line. Don't try to.
Politically, it's ruined him.
Yes, it has. It destroyed him.
Stupid.
Great Florida governor.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was just a stupid decision, in my opinion, because everyone wanted Trump. He was the face of the Republican Party.
He was too eager to become president. He didn't wait his turn is the problem. If he had waited until after, you know...
With the baggage Trump had...
It made him look really bad.
Yeah. Anyway, what else do we got
I
here?
never got it. I never understood it either.
Yeah.
In 2023, a man with paralysis walks naturally for the first time in 12 years after a Swiss team created a neurologic link between the brain and the spinal cord. Findings published in Nature magazine. Not magazine, but like Nature journal. It's a
Nature magazine, journal, whatever the heck it is. It's a publication.
Journal, whatever it is. Yeah.
It's a publication.
Nature.
Oh.
Publication. That's it.
And I remember when this happened. I hopefully I do. That was
Do you
2
wanna
years
read
ago.
it then? Do you want to read it?
Sure, I'll read it. 2023, the mercenary Wagner Group said it is handing over the eastern Ukrainian city of Bakhmut after capturing it for Russia in one of the longest and bloodiest battles of the war so far. So,
Yeah, I remember when that Wagner shit was news.
yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
And our last article, and perfect for you if you want to take it.
2023, test for a possible alien transmission to Earth to see if humans can decode it, sent from ExoMars Trace Gas Orbiter and the spacecraft orbiting Mars.
Wow.
I would like to learn more about that.
Oh,
Yeah.
me too.
That's incredible.
Wow.
That's interesting.
And that shall conclude the show. Please check the underbar of the description below for anything that you may find interesting, including but not limited to all things Omni Coalition. A lot of history has and continues to be made and discovered on a daily basis, and we can only bring you a portion of it. Please check our sources. For your dose of past events daily, we stream at 11 in the morning Pacific time, which is 12 noon Mountain, 1 Central, and 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, respectively. For all of you and all of us, I'm Mayo Xander.
Golden Loon.
Noah.
Yep, and you, viewer, of course, are you. And until you catch us next time, whenever that is, wherever that is, don't forget to look right and left at every intersection, rate 5 thumbs, and subscribe. Toodles!
Toodles.
Where's my mouse?